live yet. Okay, there it is.
All right, I think we're on.
Right.
We are live now.
Yep, we are live.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Go to Facebook.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what's
Let's see.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening. Come on in, everybody.
It's not running.
Give some others opportunity to join.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and just jump in.
Yeah.
Let people come in. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And good evening, Miss. Let's see. It says Donna.
Donna.
It's Donna. Thank you.
Donna.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll go ahead and jump in for people who will be watching for the replay. We're so excited to be here tonight, to be with very, very special guests.
Yeah.
And that is Dr. Carlos Todd and his lovely wife,
Miss Natasha.
Miss Natasha Pemberton-Todd. Thank you all so much for agreeing to join just this broadcast, but to enjoy for joining us as distinguished presenters at our marriage summit. This is our second marriage
Our upcoming
summit.
marriage summit next month.
It's coming up September 11th and 12th.
Yay.
9 days.
In about 29 days in
29
Charlotte.
days, huh?
Yes, it's our second summit that we had.
Here in Charlotte.
And the Todds, they were speakers at our marriage summit last year, and I personally was
I'm still chewing and eating.
Lots of steak in there.
We're in this space, right, of helping couples in their marriage, and we've been married 32 years, raised 6 children together, and the whole marriage family dynamic is what we do.
Yeah,
it's what we help others with. But we were so helped. I don't know about you, but I was so enlightened. And by the information that you all shared.
Absolutely.
Of course, this is your space. The Todds, they are licensed marriage and family therapists, and their specialty is in conflict resolution. And so we learned just so much. Yeah. You all made it, you took the clinical.
Right. Yeah.
Understandable and practical, and to where you just gave deep insights.
Yeah.
And I know everybody in the room was just lifted and shifted and had understanding. And understanding is so critical.
Absolutely.
The scripture tells us in all of your get
understanding.
Yeah. And I personally just believe that most people, married couples, many of them are not together today because they did not love each other. I personally believe many couples are not together today because they did not know how to be together.
Yeah.
And I personally believe that it is a skill. These are skills that anyone can learn.
Absolutely.
Anyone can develop. I believe if you want to stay together, you can.
You can.
But it's
going to take work.
It's not even just work. It's work, but it's also knowledge. It's the right
work.
Right.
Good.
I personally don't want to just feel like I'm just suffering and working.
Yeah, just working.
Right. Still in the same cycles, in the same,
Right.
unhappy.
if we want to do something different, we have to be willing to step out of the box and learn and grow in a different space, which comes with discomfort. So we have to expect that we're going to be uncomfortable.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow.
You know,
absolutely. So any couple who's willing to learn and grow.
That's right. Yeah.
There's some data out there. I mean, this has been a while since I've seen it, but there's some data out there that shows that it's like 60% of couples wish they had tried harder. This is after divorce, even if it is 50%. The number is still quite high, and the reality of it is that, to your point, Ms. Howard, that it's a skill at the end of the day, and if you don't know the things that you need to know, frustration sets in.
Yes.
It just kind of goes in a whole different direction. So the lack of skill and the lack of knowledge is really, I think, the epidemic part of this problem. People just don't really know. Yeah.
And I think the undercurrent to the not knowing is also the not willing to know. So what I encounter often are, you have the one person in the relationship. I see primarily women. And so oftentimes it's a woman that come in, it's a woman that they set the appointments, they're going to bring, let's go to couples counseling, whatever. But then the other party may not be willing, or just thinks that, and this can go either way. I see primarily women, so that's my perspective, but he sees both. And so, but we hear if one person is willing to step out of the comfort zone, get help, ask for help, all of those things. And then you have the other party who's like, no, we can just figure it out. Well, how are you figuring it out if you want something different from what you saw or you didn't see?
Right. Marriage
in your past. But we're going to figure it out how, because we have no mental models by which. So, the willingness to step, that's why I talked about discomfort earlier, the willingness to step into the uncomfortable, to do something different, to learn a different way, to withstand maybe even ridicule from family members who are like, well, we didn't do it this way, we did it the other way, or whatever. To push through that so that you can come to the other side of the thing you said that you want. That's where we lose a lot of people in the ways, because the price is high for going against the grain.
Price is high.
Wow.
Wow,
that is so good. Why do you think this is just, I would love to hear from you, Dr. Todd. Why are men often resistant to?
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons why this happens. Primarily, I think that it is a lack of familiarity with counseling. I think that there are issues around subjecting yourself, quote unquote, to the authority of another person. So that comes up too.
Wow.
The unwillingness to be accountable in situations, right? The not really knowing how the clinical process works, right? So you see that too. But I think the good news is that this is changing. 10 years ago, I mean, I've been seeing couples on a solid basis for the last 10 years at least. And they're showing up. They're showing up. They're willing to do the work. I can tell oftentimes when they're not ready to do the work, right? From the way, even how paperwork is done, right? But I think more so than not, men are showing up and wanting to do the work. People just don't really understand how change works. I think there's an assumption that you go from bad to good. And typically you don't go from bad to good. You go from a bad to a no man's land. We're still trying to figure out things to something better. And if you try a skill, right, and it doesn't work well,
these are the first couple of times.
The first few times, then they abandon it, not really understand that the brain gets committed to. It gets committed to an existing process, even if the process is bad, right? I mean, if two people are, and this happens a lot, they're sleeping in separate spaces, right? They got upset about whatever, and each week, month that passes by, each person is developing their own rhythm about how they're gonna, what they're gonna do in their nightly routines, how they're gonna manage things, right? They create their own spaces where they're doing whatever. And that's a bad system, but it's a system nonetheless, right?
Wow.
And so if one person says, oh, this needs to stop, we need to be in the same space, you still have to come deal with the fact that somebody's watching their own shows, somebody's set the temperature in the room, the way how they want it to be, right?
Yep.
So there's a rhythm. And if if you don't discuss, okay, how are we going to run this thing? How are we going to make this right? It falls apart, and they're back in the same room together. So back in separate spaces. So there's a whole thing about how change works and really helping people to understand that you don't go from bad to good. There's a process that kind of ensues where that's concerned.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I even see, I know you talked about men, historically being resistant to certainly the therapeutic journey with their spouse, but I'm talking about even learning and growing, learning new skills, even with the marriage summit, just even, in this space, you got the wife who's all in, wants to make the investment to come.
Taking notes.
From him, it's like pulling teeth.
We
have to have all these strategies around men, because that's the way you got to get in the room.
I even heard feedback from one person. The man said, I don't need this. We've been married too long. And the wife is sitting there going like,
I mean, there's a lot of fear and not a good understanding of where the benefits are. And I think also not a good understanding of the amount of pain that the other person is in. I think sometimes people have, men have an inability or difficulty truly seeing the other person. And so, I mean, that's another thing that I think that is a real struggle. Like, do you see me? Right. I mean, it's a struggle for me, and I know this stuff, right? Like, do you truly see me? Because, in my 5 foot plus frame, you see this body, but who is this person? And people are evolving every day.
Person.
Wow.
And then sometimes I think Dr. Todd and Mrs. Todd, men especially, they can almost frame it such a way in their mind to where they are so resistant to a process that's going to help them get better because they feel judged going in. And men don't like to feel judged.
Yeah, I get that, and and it's something that I have to deal with very early on in clinical work. But I think that you just kind of, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, I think you have to speak directly to the man, and let them understand what the benefits are. But I also recognize at the same time that the people who are going to be accountable are going to be accountable, and the people who are not going to be accountable are not going to be accountable. And I see guys showing up too, and they're writing, and they're taking it in. But there are some people, because of historical trauma, a bunch of other reasons, they're just resistant. And I mean, I think as people who are presenting and really wanting to share information, there's the recognition that we have to see their humanity too, the woman's humanity, the man's humanity, and speak to their fears also. To help them understand that you're not there to attack. You really want them to be better as a person.
Absolutely. That's great.
That's wonderful.
Well, I wanted to talk to you all tonight and get your perspective on a really popular social media discussion that's been happening maybe in the last few days. Someone, I don't even know who the person is, they made a post that the post kind of just went viral. But they made a post, and the post said, the image was big and bold, and it said, abuse is not an excuse for divorce.
So
that image just got shared over and over and over again. And then even on their page, they kind of doubled down on that, the Bible gives no exit basically for divorce because of abuse, and they didn't discount physical abuse or any of it. It was almost as if, it's kind of, they presented, marriage is a lifetime commitment. You've worked through it, or
no matter what,
die to your flesh, blah, 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 blah. It was that kind of, to me, religious kind of. And it just sent all kinds of bells and whistles off in me, because I don't agree with that stance. And but clearly, I mean, even like church media outlets, magazine media, spoke to it, because it was a powerful statement.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just kind of get your thoughts on that. I want to ask this question of you. We hear a lot in the church about fighting for your marriage and honoring your covenant. But do you think there are times when our commitment to persevering in the marriage can actually enable destructive behavior? Or what is the line between perseverance and tolerating really what should never be tolerated?
Yeah. So this is very personal to me.
Okay.
And so personal in the sense that I grew up in a situation where there was a lot of domestic violence, and the person, my mother's husband, he was an official in the church itself, and
wow.
Right. And so my position is, I go to the scripture that talks about this idea that love is kind, love is patient, doesn't keep records. So you kind of now, 13, right? And you go down to Corinthians 13. And ultimately, this is the standard in my mind, right? If you don't meet that standard, there's something wrong. And so the idea that abuse is not an excuse for divorce, in my mind, to me, is ludicrous. I mean, you're putting people in danger.
It's lunacy,
right? You're putting people in danger, and this stuff is not. This stuff is kind of floating through quietly through churches.
Yes,
right? And people are making this decision that I'm committed to my relationship, my marriage, and therefore I'm not going to leave while we know. I mean, when you look at statistically, a lot of these deaths, I don't know I don't have the data like within a American context. A lot of the female deaths that occur in a Caribbean context, and I suspect that some of these deaths is very similar in this society. But a lot of these deaths that occur for women are deaths associated with some domestic
absolutely,
right? by an intimate partner. So you're putting people in a situation where their lives are at risk. In my opinion, it just it doesn't make sense. I don't. And the other thing too is that I think we kind of have to look at this thing broadly and recognize that we're in a social context right now where male dominance and male control is something that is pervading or moving through the society in such a way that the female voice is there's an attempt to quiet the female voice.
Absolutely.
So however it presents itself, right? In my opinion, this is another way that this thing is presenting itself, right? People are seeking control, and then they're cloaking it in spirituality. And I am glad that my mother came home when I was one day from school when I was about 13, and she was like, "We gotta go. We can't stay here." And here today, alive, because that decision was made. So I don't think that. I think from a spiritual standpoint, from a clinical standpoint, right? I mean, you look at the issues around death for females. It does not make sense to me. And one of the other things, I'll say this quickly and then I'll stop, is that the deaths mainly occur when women are trying to leave.
Oh wow!
Right. So what's going on there, right? Was it this idea of control? If the person wants to leave, let them leave.
Let them leave.
Let them leave. And so there's a lot of it. I don't know the best way to say this, but people take their dysfunction to religion. Instead of the other way around, right?
Religion is a
religious
covering.
bondage.
It's a covering. That's all it is. And it often is a covering for deep dysfunction.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it keeps people from truly learning, growing, transforming, and thriving in life.
Exactly.
And I have deep feelings. Again,
I'm with you. I'm trying to concede.
Yeah, I lived it. I lived
Right.
it. So I don't. We showed up in church. We grew up Seventh-day Adventist. We showed up in church, and a beating happened the day before.
Oh my God!
Or the evening before.
Or the evening. It happened after.
Oh my God!
So I've seen the man in the circle, all the leaders laying on hands, and then a week later, 2 weeks later,
we're
back in the same cycle. Do I believe that God is powerful enough to change?
Sure, he is.
I've seen
of course, right?
Sure.
I mean, but I also believe that people have to do the work, and a lot of times people don't do the work.
Right.
Yeah.
And God's not going to violate our decision, right? Our choices. He's going to present opportunity, give us a buffet. And then we have to decide whether or not we're going to eat. And oftentimes, again, coming back to the willingness to do the work, the willingness to learn something different, do something different. Absolutely. The opportunities can be right around you. But if you are not open to taking advantage of them or doing, it's not going to shift. Because my concern with a post that would go viral, such as this one, is not so much the sentiment itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
because two people can have. I know I grew up with my grandmother, and she was married. This was pretty common in the Caribbean. I don't know if it was a money thing or whatever, but you would have people being married for decades, living totally different lives on different parts of the island. And you don't find out that this person was actually married for all these years.
Yeah.
Until the funeral, or there was some kind of long-term situation.
The process of divorce.
No.
Yeah.
So if you want to hold, if that's your thing, fine. My concern, however, is where we put emphasis. We're putting the emphasis on the window dressing of being married.
Oh, wow.
But not the emphasis on husbands are required first to love like Christ loved the church. And what does that mean? Can we have a long post about the details of that?
Yes.
Come on.
Right? I'm concerned that the emphasis is not on, like Dr. Todd was just saying, what love actually entails. Because if we get into the details of that, we won't have to really talk about the abuse piece as much, because we would get people in order that this is your responsibility. But if we're going to spend most of our time on the window dressing of, okay, you must stay married no matter what, but never deal with the other issues. Like, how is Christ looking at how a man, or whoever is the perpetrator, because I know some women are perpetrators as well.
Yes.
How you are treating another human being. Let's talk about what's God's heart concerning that.
Absolutely.
Let's spend most of our time discussing that, because he has really powerful feelings as he's shown us in his word about how you treat another human being in lieu of your many rules. And in many respects, when Christ walked the earth, he threw the rules out the window so that he can save the human being. So if we're going to spend time talking, let's spend time talking about how we get the human being, take care of the human nature.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then we can deal with the other pieces. I've worked with many women who were on that, they've been taught that, marriages, I need to just grit my teeth and bear it or whatever. I am not there to tell you what choice to make where that is concerned. Right. But what I will say, however, is that there are some things that God has laid out in terms of the order of marriage. A lot of times we hear, well, the man is in charge and this and that, and that's where the emphasis goes. And that is fine. There is no problem. If it's done right, nobody has to argue that.
If it's done right.
If it's done right.
Right.
And a lot of times we're not teaching what that means. We want the accoutrements of
Yeah.
being in charge without the responsibility.
Responsibility. That's
What
right.
that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God didn't just put men in charge because it was easy.
That's right.
Mhm.
There is weight that comes with that. And the weight is equivalent to the weight that Christ carries for the church.
That's right.
Christ
Loving us before we were
died
even
for this.
lovable, before we were even able to consider that there's salvation. He loved us, put up with a whole bunch of stuff, and still is putting up with a bunch of stuff.
That's right.
That's weight.
Yeah.
That means self-sacrifice and the whole. So my concern about things like this going viral is just where really is the emphasis,
Mhm.
especially coming on the heels of a time of great mass disclosure of so many abuse scandals within church.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're now going to put the emphasis on you need to stay no matter what, but we're not going to hold people accountable for how they treat another human being.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that we sometimes throw around that term abuse to where we fail to stop and go back and really take a look at what abuse really means. To oversimplify, the way I look at wordsmithing is abuse is made up of two words, and that's abnormal use. Abnormal use. And so if something is being abused, that means it's being used outside of its normal use of what God designed it for.
Exactly.
And so if I'm experiencing abuse, I don't care what it is, if it's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever, it means that I'm experiencing something outside of the way God created me to experience that.
Yeah. And I think the mind, the body, spirit registers that.
It
as abuse.
registers that as abuse.
Yes.
That's being treated outside of how I was created to be treated as a wife, as a husband, as
and
a
that
human,
should not be
whatever
minimized.
That should never be minimized.
That should never be
I
minimized.
personally believe, I've got wife class, right? So I have a
Right.
I do call wife class. I deal with women. The first thing I deal with, and I drill down, I never will stop talking about it, is worth. It's knowing your worth.
Knowing
it
your
is
worth.
The first rule.
You must
know your worth, particularly as a wife, because the Bible says an excellent wife, who can find one? Her worth is far
above rubies. Yes.
When God gives a man a wife, he's giving her a God thing, a good thing.
Exactly.
Your worth, even just being by virtue of being a woman, a female, not even like a female or the feminine spirit, the worth of a woman is priceless.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's just who we are. You got to know that. And when you know that, abuse becomes a non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
I've trained our 6 daughters that way. That's not even, that is a non-negotiable, whether it's physical, whether it is verbal, whether it is emotional. And
and don't make excuses for the other person.
Yeah, and don't make excuses, because that person will come no higher than you require. And if you accept it, they're not going to get any better.
Yeah, and it's a bottomless pit. You give, the more you give, the more they take.
The more they're going to take.
The more you settle, the lower they go. Yeah. The least you require, you're going to get less than even that.
That's right.
And so that is an issue of self-worth.
And Dr. Todd, you and myself, both, we were recipients of an abusive situation.
Sure. Yeah.
We're talking about women, but if there are others involved in that family, like a child, like you and I, I actually experienced it not indirectly, just being in the house. I experienced it directly. Where sawed-off shotguns were pointed in my face. As a child, I actually got in physical altercations with my stepfather, who was abusive, not only verbally but physically, mentally. And so, it's not just women, but it's also the others that are in the household that they also can be either direct or indirect
Yeah.
recipient.
It is destructive. It is not just the psychological health. I mean, it's the psychological health for the people, but it's also the physical health. Because I've seen situations where there were people in my mother's orbit who, like, my mother left. There were people in my mother's orbit who did not leave, and I can see the result of those things 30, 40 years later, and what it has caused. The physical impact, right, in terms of health and longevity, the impact on their relationships, right? It's not, to me, it's something that is common sense. This is not working. This is, we need to draw a line somewhere. And this stuff that people, I think, sometimes spew from the pulpit, they don't really have a good, I want to assume that they don't have a good understanding of what they're talking about. But people have all kinds of reasons why they assume.
But the challenges, because I tend to focus with leaders, and leaders. When you're in leadership and you put something like that out, for the ones who have not fully studied their work, because I find myself rearranging theology at times in order just to get work done.
Yes.
Not to tell people what to believe, but to definitely present the counter to what you're describing. Because there's no scripture that says we shouldn't smoke cigarettes.
Right. Exactly.
But
but cigarettes.
We know that you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right, because it would be violating the principle of the temple of the Holy. So we don't need to have a thou shalt not
line by line
single thing in modern life in order for you to know that this is not okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Again, where is the emphasis? The emphasis really on just keeping the covenant, or should the emphasis really be on making sure that when we are in covenant, we treat that covenant within the parameters that God has set forth in the first place?
Absolutely.
I think the other thing too that I spend a fair bit of time on is like what happened in heaven when Lucifer is kind of thinking through his thing, and he's thinking, I shall be like the Most High, I shall ascend above the clouds, right? And the Godhead is seeing all of this, right? And the Godhead doesn't say destroy him and make all the heavenly beings forget. It says, look, I'm going to cast you down because you have free will. I'm going somewhere with this, right?
Okay.
You have free will. Let's see how it works out.
Yeah.
So he casts him out, right? This is the most powerful entity that ever existed, and he lets the idea of free will play out, right?
Yeah. Ooh, so good.
So now you take that, and you're in a relationship with someone, and you don't have the intestinal fortitude to manage somebody who is different from you.
Yeah.
Who doesn't see the world in the same way as you. Doesn't have the same opinions as you. They will oppose you at different points in time. You don't know how to deal with that. You shouldn't be in a relationship, or you should learn the skills to be able to do that, because that it's a fundamental principle of the Godhead, right? That human beings, I lay before you life and death, right? You choose. And so I think that's an important principle, I think, to consider.
That's so good.
So we're talking about conflict in relationships, and that's what abuse centers around. So every couple has conflict of some kind, correct? Would you not agree with that? I mean, we have
100%, right? That's my life's work. Yeah.
Exactly. That's where you must put the work in, the right work. But not every couple knows how to conflict. So every couple deals with conflict, but
they don't know how to conflict.
They don't know how to conflict well.
Right.
And that's what I love about you all's coaching, is that you help couples to understand the right techniques of how to conflict in a healthy way.
Yes.
Where your marriage can actually be
Grow.
strengthened
It can
from
be
it,
strengthened,
and you can grow. So help us separate what healthy conflict looks like, the type of healthy conflict that can actually help your marriage to grow, that can strengthen your marriage.
So there are some kind of broad principles, right? So the idea is that everybody has disagreements, right? Which is fine. What distinguishes the Gottmans, who are like kind of the premier researchers, they distinguish the masters from the disasters, the people who get it right versus the people who get it wrong.
Wow.
And there are 4 things that you don't want to have persistently in your relationship: criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling, right?
Whoa.
So stonewalling is the silent, right? Silent man, silent woman. Criticism, you never, you're the kind of person who does whatever. And then defensiveness is, I didn't do that didn't happen, And then contempt is the worst. And contempt is, I'm looking down on you, right? I'm better than you, right? And so that is the thing that puts you in judgment of me. And when people are in that phase or that place, they start kind of moving closer and closer to loneliness, disengagement, and then they start thinking in their minds, is there a better alternative here, right? By myself or with somebody else. There are some other nuanced things that I'll say one of them that I think is useful. Even couples who have like heated disagreements, and your wife will tell you that I'm not a heated disagreement kind of person. But I've learned over the years that even couples who may have heated disagreements, if they have this one thing, and I'll talk a lot more about this when we have the summit in a month or so. It is something called the acceptance of influence. So people may be going back and forth, but if somebody says, "Good point, I didn't think about that," or that's something for me to consider. Now that you put it that way, I really need to think about that.
Wow,
man, I did not realize that was so important to you, right? And they may have the volume, right? But there's still a bridge somewhere in that.
The communication hasn't been totally closed or ended.
Right. So there's something that says, "I see you." It's just the whole thing, right? It's this idea that I see you. And then the last one, I'll say real quick. Again, I'll talk about a lot more about this when we have the summit. Is that each individual person is able to regulate, keep their heart rate down, manage their anxiety, right? People who can't regulate, the anxiety gets higher, then you don't think clearly. And people don't really understand that things like adrenaline and cortisol, it affects the volume in which you hear things. It affects what you focus in on, right? And a bunch of other things, again, that we'll talk about during the seminar.
Can we go back to that just really quick, though? I just want to make sure I just heard you correctly.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that I don't have to necessarily be raising my voice, but because of the adrenaline that the person that I'm talking to is experiencing, they can perceive.
They can hear it louder. They hear it louder.
Wow.
It affects what you focus in on. It affects what you remember. So people sometimes will say, like, "I don't remember saying that," right? Or "I didn't say that." And right? So
that's that's biochemistry.
It is biochemical. Yeah.
Wow.
And so what you just said, because we're going to wrap up for tonight, but I hope you guys are seeing.
Oh my God! This is the type of content this is rich.
These are the type of skills that you are going to learn.
This is rich.
At the marriage summit that can completely shift. We've watched it just from last year.
Yeah.
Many of the couples who were in the room. From some of the skills that they learned, especially those that we're in proximity to, we've seen them. it was just life-changing
Yeah.
stuff, just from just that alone right there, of how to handle, you know, a heated, whatever heated looks like anyway.
Right.
Right. Just with those statements right there, those bridge statements, how that can completely change that.
Change your ear. Yes.
Change the result.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That is just, that alone is so powerful right there. I hope you guys saw that. That's, you've just gotten a taste of what you're going
That's
to
just
experience.
a snippet.
That's just a snippet.
Appetizers only. Appetizers.
Yeah.
Our theme for the Marriage Summit is Covenant Blueprint.
Yeah.
And so each one of our speakers has been charged to actually not just impart information, but to leave each couple with their, based on their subject matter, with an action plan. And so you're going to leave with an action plan.
A blueprint.
Right. A blueprint in these areas. My husband and I will be kicking it off. We're going to be talking about the power of covenant and some of the things that we have learned in our how to, what we call, lean into our covenant.
Yeah.
What that looks like and how it has literally made impossible situations possible for us, leaning into our covenant. And covenant is just not just getting an agreement with each other, but it's like a triangle.
Absolutely.
Because your marriage doesn't just involve two people. We believe it involves three people. We believe marriage is spiritual.
Don't give them all the secret sauce right now.
But basically, when you learn how to get in agreement, not just with each other, but get in perfect agreement with each other and God, nothing becomes impossible.
That's right.
Amen.
As a married couple who understands covenant, and not just covenant with each other, but you're also in a covenant
with God.
Right.
And so we'll be teaching that and giving you a blueprint on how to strengthen that. And then the Todds are going to be giving blueprints, action plans on how, you know, to deal with conflict and strengthen your covenant. There is a way that you can deal with the conflicts that you have that strengthens your covenant.
That's right.
It doesn't, you know, tear you apart or diminish it. And then we also have breakout sessions. We have all these people are experts on these topics. One breakout session on blending families.
Yes.
I'm not unfortunate, it's just the state of affairs. Most families today, I don't know the stat,
are blended families.
But most families are blended families. Traditional families where all the children are by the same husband and wife, never divorced. That is no longer the norm. Blended families are the norm, and they present challenges. Yeah, there are lots of challenges. And so we have a couple who have done it well, and they have a deep story, but they have done it well. And so they'll be there, the Wallaces. And then we have another couple from Jacksonville, Florida. They are experts, they're financial coaches, husband-wife team, they're financial coaches, and they're going to be giving you an action plan about your money and your marriage. And then we have the other topic is these are husband-wife team. They're business coaches. They work almost exclusively.
They work exclusively with husband and wife tandem.
Yeah, husband and wife teams who are working in business together and teaching them how to work together in tandem. Not just for greater profit and productivity, but for greater peace as well in the marriage. And so they'll be doing a breakout session for couples that fit in that, how to work as a team together. And so those are our breakout sessions. That happens on Saturday. The 12th on Friday night is social. We're having what we call Queen City Date Night. Yeah. And it's going to be at Queen Park Social.
It's going to be lots of fun.
Yes, and it's going to be really a party. It's for the couples who to just get to know each other in just a social environment and
it's yours truly birthday.
It's also my birthday. We the only weekend we could do this was my birthday weekend, and so I said, all right, well, we'll do it that weekend.
I had to kind of twist our arm a little bit. Take you to some exclusive Caribbean
as long as
getaway.
It was a trade-off.
It was a trade-off, yeah.
But I don't mind because I enjoy this.
Oh, we love it.
I love
this fuels us.
What happens in the room as couples are, you can just see the breakthroughs happening.
Registration is $299 per couple
for the whole weekend experience.
For the whole weekend experience.
And we are giving away to the couple that registers before August 20th.
Mhm.
We're going to be giving away a free hotel night stay that Friday night at our host hotel, which is Renaissance South Park.
So in order to get your name in
the hat,
you
need to register,
by
August 20th.
Yes.
Okay, and the registration is there, marriagesummit.us. All right.
Okay.
So thank you all so much for joining this.
Join us next week, as a matter of fact.
Join us next Thursday. We're going to be doing another Marriage Matters broadcast with one of our other guest speakers at the Marriage Summit. All right, September 11th and 12th.
Todd, thank you so much. You've been wonderful as always.
You're welcome.
And you just whet my appetite. I can't wait for September the 11th and 12th.
Yay.
Something new. My brain was like, oh my God. And it was so simple. That's what I love.
I know, just, right? Simple ideas. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
We just don't know.
We just don't know.
No, it's the academic stuff. Try to make it as simple as possible, you know, so people can get it. Because then you're in a situation, you're like, oh yeah, that's.
Well, that's actually the definition of genius. Taking the complex and making it simple.
Making it so simple.
There you go.
I always say it this way: when the simple solution arrives, God has spoken.
God has spoken.
Right.
Yeah, you know God has spoken.
Yeah.
Amen.
Everyone have a wonderful rest of your
right.
evening. And if you're in Charlotte, stay out of this rain because it's raining outside. God bless you. Please share this with those that you think this could add tremendous value to. I believe it can add value to most everyone that listens to it. So please share this. All right. And we'll see you next week for our next Marriage Matters.
All right. Good night.
All right.
Have a good night.